The BSR Podcast this week is presented by our friends at Whitey's Liquors. Visit them at whiteysliquorsmd.com. Give them a call at 410-789-8248. Or pay them a visit like I did on Friday at 803 North Hammonds Ferry Road in Linthicum Heights, Maryland. Jab, when you stop in, I sat and talked beer with Rob, sampled some pumpkin beers. You know, I'm not a beer snob or even not even snob, but not super knowledgeable about it. I've liked some pumpkin beers, which I told Rob, and he's like, here, try this one. We found some stuff that I really liked. It's just an awesome place to visit.
Well, not only is it an awesome place to visit, Zach, how cool is Rob? I mean, the guy is all over the social media platform. I don't care about his bad taste in sports teams. That's a whole different can.
I think he'd admit to that right now. Actually, Red Sox officially eliminated from postseason play.
Yeah. And his Patriots, they went down in the tubes on Sunday as well. But listen, he is a spectacular guy. We talk about it every week. The selection's amazing, and like you said, I'm not a beer guy by any stretch, but I'll go in there. He'll find something that anything. He'll tailor it to the way you like to get down drinking wise. So get over there to Whitey's. It's a spectacular spot,
no doubt. 803 North Hammonds Ferry Road in Linthicum Heights, or at whiteysliquorsmd.com.
The BSR Podcast is a member of the Baltimore Sports Report Network. Find more podcasts like this at baltimoresportsreport.com.
From the epicenter of Baltimore sports, beaming worldwide from the BSR studios, you're listening to the BSR Podcast on baltimoresportsreport.com.
Welcome into the BSR Podcast for Monday, September 8th, 2014. I'm Zach Will from baltimoresportsreport.com, joined by Jabby Burns. What's up, Jab?
Well, quite a day. Quite a day here, recording on Monday. The Orioles are good. I can throw that out there. Nice little series down in Tampa, even though it was a losing weekend on the series. Sunday's game made up for the two lost on Friday and Saturday with our boy Nelly just basically leading the charge. But other than that, some videos fell out of the sky today, Zach.
Yes, they did. Very, very busy morning for the Baltimore media and people that blog about Baltimore sports, like us. So, yeah, very busy morning. We'll jump into that. Going to talk with Sam and Joko of CBS Baltimore about the Ravens' loss and about the Ray Rice video, which you've already seen and heard and reacted to, but we'll get his take on all that coming up. But Matt Lund is here as well. What's up, Matt?
Good morning, everybody. Another day to fire up the old podcast. We got a lot to talk about. Just disappointing. I mean, we've said it before, disappointing, but now to actually see that video, very disappointing, and it's hard to be a fan of this team right now, and hard to watch the NFL. Just disappointing.
I don't know. Hard to watch the NFL for sure, unless you're a Jets fan like Patrick Guthrie, right,
Zach,
Patrick?
Thank you for that. 1-0 leader in the clubhouse, baby.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
I will take that. Congratulations. The Jets are going to have a tough next couple weeks, but you beat the Raiders at home, and I have a relatively happy Monday. It's things are going okay for me. Fortunately, I can look at this all from the outside. So yeah, it's going all right. I just had a bagel and cream cheese. Things are going okay for me.
Interesting.
Congrats. Don't know why we need to know about the bagel, but we're happy for you.
Now you do though.
What kind of bagel? Onion with cream cheese?
Everything.
Oh,
everything you want.
Everything.
Not a fan of the everything bagel.
Oh God, get out of here! You just don't like onions.
I hate onions. You're right.
Okay, so there we go.
Too much.
Really getting into the deep stuff this morning. This is really.
Well, we have enough of it to get into, so I feel like we should. I guess delay the inevitable. I don't know. Let's talk about it. You've seen it. We posted on BSR. TMZ released it. I guess, Jab, the defense from those that were left defending Ray Rice was, we have not seen what happened in the elevator between him and Janae Palmer. We have not seen it. We don't know what happened. I mean, despite the fact that the police actually did see it and did say that Rice, the word that they used in the police report was, struck his then fiance. But those that were left defending said, I'm not going to judge the guy until we've seen the video. Well, we've seen the video. It was released. And by the way, if you think this is any sort of that it was randomly released here on Monday morning after week 1 in the NFL, no. TMZ probably had this video for weeks and was sitting on it for the most high traffic time they could possibly get, and that happened to be Monday, September 8th, after week 1 in the NFL. So we've seen it. I don't know. What do you think, Jeb?
Well, obviously this morning you wake up, you're expecting to kind of, after the weekend of some Orioles baseball, some NFL games starting off the week, that kind of thing. You're not expecting this kind of news. But I'm just going to go to this point. What did you think you were going to see on this video when you saw what they had already put out there before? I don't know why I understand why everybody's up in arms, because that's what we do. We're social media. We got the media people out there getting all this information. But how do you think she fell on the ground and got kicked out of the elevator? I mean, what did you just expect you were going to see? Now, the graphic nature of it, of the actual punches, him being so cavalier and just kind of like, we'll push her out and no one will notice her. I mean, that to me is how itself strikes me more than almost everything else about it. His actual reaction to what he just did made it look like, to me, again, I didn't see his face, but he didn't look that worried, guys, to me. He just looked like, oh, well, this. So I'm not saying this has happened before, but I'm just going to say that it didn't look like Ray Rice was that worried about her or the situation itself. Going forward, I don't know what you do if you're the Ravens, but I'll say this. If Harvey Levine can get this tape and you're telling me the NFL can't, then maybe Harvey should be the NFL commissioner from now on, because he seems to have a little bit more juice than the NFL.
The NFL releasing a statement to all of the writers, and I've been getting blown up by people that work in TMZ sending emails to Baltimore Sports Report this morning. Believe me, TMZ, I've seen the stories. You don't need to keep sending me your emails. I'm clicking on your website plenty. We're giving you credit, whatever. But the NFL issuing a statement that they hadn't seen the video before it was released to the public today is either, one, completely absurd, or two, which I tend to agree with, is just a flat-out lie. And I'll tell you what, if you really want to investigate something, like, say, when Major League Baseball wanted to investigate the biogenesis case, and not only track down Anthony Bosch, but then purchased all of the evidence to then hand out the suspensions for everyone that was involved in biogenesis, and for something like that to happen in a professional sports league in the United States of America, for something like that to happen, and for the NFL to think that I am stupid enough to sit here and believe that they did not see that video, it's just completely absurd. Yeah, totally absurd. They absolutely saw this video.
Right, and it's just another thing of gross mismanagement here by Roger Goodell and the NFL league office. I mean, yet another example of how the NFL is just falling in the eyes of Americans and really around the world, especially now with this incident. Very, very disappointing. And to me, I guess your Ray Rice defenders, maybe they were looking to see if Janae provoked this whole thing.
Oh, please don't use the word. Please don't use the P word. Please don't do that. There is no such thing as a woman provoking her own beating. I can't.
Right. You're right.
That is not. That will never happen. No.
But for those defenders to have something to say, okay, now I have reason to defend Ray Rice. No, there was never that anyway. There's nothing to see there. I mean, it was totally Ray Rice in this. I mean, it looked like he even spit on her, but before he struck her. So it made me sick to see it. And just yet another example of, just flat out lies and just mismanagement by the league office. It's shocking to say the least.
The Ravens are withholding comment publicly, which to me is kind of crazy, because they had no problem commenting when the fans gave Rice a standing ovation in the preseason. The PR department writing a piece about how they like Ray Rice and support him through this time, and the PR guy even comparing him to his son in this blog post, which it's just some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen. So I'll be real curious. We'll ask Sam what he thinks they're going to say today, because they're going to have to talk today. I know they're going to try to game plan and strategize as much as they can about this. But this is a team who really spent the whole offseason really trying to put a positive spin on this and really trying to forgive and forget. And here we are after week one, seeing just some of the most disturbing and disgusting video you could possibly imagine from this.
If you're a PR class somewhere at a college, this is something that you use to say this is how you don't respond to incidents like this. I mean, just a complete botching by the Ravens PR
staff. Which is
staff
crazy for the Ravens, who, in my opinion, have done a positive spin job on everything. I mean, I get lambasted for talking about them moving training camp away, which seems like nothing compared to this. And they put the good spin on that, but attempted to use those same PR skills in this case. And I mean, you talk about it blowing up in your face.
And where are all the defenders at today, Zach? All the people that were leaving you comments on the site and to you defending this guy over and over and over and over. Where are they today? They wanted to see the evidence. Now they got it.
They got it.
You can't talk anymore about it.
No,
don't defend the guy.
And when you look at this too, and you guys go back to the PR spin of it, and it's an interesting deal because, you know, in this town, and if you're just going to take the two teams, who gets worse PR than the Orioles do usually? I mean, who out there in this town continues to get the, I don't know, they're like the redheaded stepchild kids to next door to the big Ravens who never do anything wrong, handle every situation right. Kevin Byrne, who is the PR guy you're speaking of, who is, I think, has egg completely all over his face today. You know, they tight-knit, Bisciotti's amazing, Newsom's amazing, but yet the Orioles, on the other hand, if something like this happened to them, you know, I just would be interested to see how the roles would be reversed, how the public outcry would be at this point, because this is an internal thing. This isn't about the team. We haven't even begun to talk about the loss yesterday, but this is an internal thing that is going to continue with them because this isn't the only situation that happened this offseason. Let's not forget about the other incidents that's happened in this offseason. And this is John Harbaugh's team. This is Bisciotti's team. These guys are in control of all of this.
Jab, you hit on it.
Muck, buddy. I'm telling you.
You hit on it. All right, a couple things to react to your piece. Can we kill #play like a Raven? Can I please never read that again, because it is the most meaningless thing, especially after this offseason. You're gonna lead the offseason in arrests and then tweet pictures #play like a Raven. What does that mean? What does that mean? It has no meaning at all.
And now it has mocking value to everybody else who hates the Ravens, because it's such a empty slogan motto.
It's right up there with RedskinsFacts.com, in my opinion. It's embarrassing.
Right. Yeah, what the hell is play like a Raven? If anything is the indication, playing like a Raven, these guys getting in trouble nonstop, I guess that's what it means. Play like a Raven.
It's the opposite of what you want to do at this point.
Or play like a Raven could be not scoring in the first half, holding onto the ball for 8 seconds.
Right.
Well, how about Sunday, Jeb? How about Sunday? So you hit on it. So a tough Ravens loss. The team was completely flat in the first half. Kind of bounced back, had a lead for 2.5 seconds, and then gave it right back. And really, the reaction after that was, well, let's flip over to Masson. Watch Nelson Cruz hit a go-ahead triple. Zach Britton blow the save. We'll forget about that part. And then Nelson Cruz drive in his 7th RBI of the day and end up walking out of Tampa Bay with a victory. Magic numbers down to 12. Am I finally seeing the shift from purple to orange in this town? Is this what it took, or is this just some bad momentum for the Ravens and good momentum for the Orioles?
I would say it's getting closer, and I think this situation galvanized the Oriole fans even more so. And if you weren't an Oriole fan, and I don't think it's just the Ravens. Let's just talk about the NFL in general. They have a black eye on them this whole offseason. This whole situation, I think, revolves around the lax in judgment by the NFL. So if you're a baseball person like myself, I like all the sports. I like baseball, I like basketball, all of it. But baseball, to me, it's back in Baltimore. It has been back in Baltimore since 2012, in my opinion. And that team is so fun to watch, and to be able to turn it over, like you said, after the Ravens lost, and be able to watch the Orioles down 3-0 in a game Really? They didn't play Jones. They didn't play Hardy. They didn't play Markakis. They're out there. Buck used 23 guys yesterday, guys. That's the most he's ever used in his entire career. If you think this team's not playing to win and isn't on a march to the playoffs, if not the number one seed overall, you're crazy. And, yeah, it's bad because the Ravens lost yesterday. In my opinion, there's a lot of reasons for that we'll get into. But the main reason is I don't think that this offense fits Joe Flacco by any stretch at this point. He was 13 of 31 in the first half, guys. First of all, he shouldn't be throwing the ball 31 times, but that also shows that offensive line isn't ready. Running back aside, it just doesn't look like they're ready to run this offense. Forsett was much better than Pierce in this offense. He hits the holes, so that could be going forward. But in the end, you telling me now they're going to come off that loss, this situation that they have with Rice, and now 4 days later, you're going to host the Pittsburgh Steelers in a way, Matt, where you could be 0-2 in your own division, both games at home? That's crazy.
Yeah. You're sitting behind the eight ball if you lose to the Steelers. 0-2, home record, 0-2, 0-2 in the division. It's not looking good. And on top of this, now you have all this going on. The Ravens have 4 days to prepare for the Steelers. The offensive line, for all that they've addressed or lack thereof to some people, did not look good yesterday. The running game did not get going. It's a mess right now, and the Ravens have a lot on their plate to clean up.
Want to welcome in Sam and Joku from CBSBaltimore.com on the BSR Podcast. Sam, how are you?
Pretty good, guys. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing all right. It's a little bit tough to be a Ravens fan this morning, as I'm sure you can imagine, and that has some to do with a bit of a disappointing loss in Week 1. But mostly, as you know, it has a lot to do with the TMZ releasing the full video of Ray Rice knocking out his then-fiancée, Janae Palmer. What was your take when you saw the news break on Monday morning?
Oh, man, I woke up, got like 30 text messages and 50 emails from various people, sources, and I was like, oh dear, this is not good. This is the last thing that the Ravens needed, especially after a tough loss like the one they had from the Bengals yesterday. So I was like, this should be fun. This should be a fun day for me, busy mostly, but it's definitely something that I thought was going to happen eventually. The timing couldn't be worse, and I really don't know what's going to happen from here.
Sam, the NFL and Roger Goodell levied a 2-game suspension for Ray Rice, and let's just be honest here. It's not enough, quite honestly, in my opinion. The NFL then came back out and revised their domestic abuse policy, basically strategy in terms of how many games a guy would be suspended and whatnot. They dropped the ball. Do you think they'll change Rice's suspension? I don't think they are able to. I think they're only allowed to decrease and not increase. But play out here, because now this information's out there. People have fully seen the video, and nothing good is going to come from this. I don't know what you think about all this.
Well, yeah, I totally understand that aspect where normally the league isn't allowed to increase its suspension, but this is a special circumstance. I just heard that the NFL stated that they didn't actually see the video prior to making the decision, and prior to today, actually. So kind of what is a little bit odd, or I would say challenging for the league and the Ravens, is that, even though the video has surfaced, there wasn't really much else that we didn't already know. We knew that Ray Rice knocked out his then fiance with a punch that was kind of disgusting to watch. But there wasn't really anything else that we saw in the video that would lead us to believe that the league can't do anything. I mean, it wasn't as if he punched her and then kicked her a little bit. The assumption was that Janae may have kind of retaliated first, or punched first, and then Ray Rice punched back. That was the consensus that we got, given the amount of games that he was suspended for. But based on what I saw, it looked like basically Ray Rice was the agitator, and because of that, it may be a little bit difficult for the Ravens to keep him around for more than 2 games. I suspect that the Ravens would go ahead and suspend him for an additional 6 games because it doesn't appear as though the league is able to do anything about it.
It's unprecedented to me, and I just what I don't get is how the Ravens are able to see this footage, but not the NFL. Usually, the Shield is going to be one of the first, organizations to see something like this if it's purported. But I just don't see the disconnect here. I don't know how the NFL could state that they didn't see the video. I mean, Ozzie Newsome himself said, this doesn't look good. I don't know.
Yeah, and Peter King wrote in his column back when the suspension came down that they saw it. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that they didn't see this video. I know that's what they're saying, but
the league saw the video. Come on, guys. The league saw the video. Right. This is definitely damage control here. They're trying to do everything to save face. I mean, the league saw the video, and the outlash that they got from the media and from the public led them to increase the game suspensions from 8 for the first offense and lifetime ban for the second offense. But this is definitely damage control. The league saw the video. It was made available to the league. I don't know where they're getting information that they didn't see the video. The Ravens definitely saw the video. It's something that was made available to the parties that needed to see it. It's just a ball job from everybody around. And the Ravens are the only ones that can correct it. If they feel as though that the public perception is too great or too damaging for them to take, then they'll suspend them for an additional 6 games. But the league definitely, they have their hands tied. There'll be legal ramifications for everybody involved if they try to suspend them any more than the 2 games that he already has.
Sam, I know your day is going to be busier later on with the Ravens, commenting on this. When we're talking to you here on Monday morning, they have said that they're withholding comment. This is a team whose lead PR guy Kevin Byrne wrote a blog post called "I Like Ray Rice," whose website wrote blog posts about how the fans gave Rice a standing ovation in the preseason. How do you expect them to respond to all of this today?
It's going to be tough. The Ravens have a scheduled press conference with the press at 4:00 today. I'm not sure if that's going to continue given the circumstances, but it's going to be rough to say the least. This isn't good for the Ravens. The PR staff has been much maligned throughout the entire process, and they're going to get their money's worth because this is bad. This is up there with the Ray Lewis scandal in 2000. The Ravens have a tough decision to make because Ray Rice is due up after Thursday. He's free to join the team on the 15th of September. And if no actions are made, he's scheduled to play against the Browns in what looks like a very pivotal game, seeing as though they lost to the Bengals yesterday.
No doubt. Well, let's talk about that game. We can. I guess this is better news. Ravens dropped their home opener 23-16 against the Bengals on Sunday. It was their first September loss at home since 2005. What did you think overall of the team's performance in Week 1?
It's weird because the Ravens they looked awful. Let's just put it bluntly. They looked awful in the first half.
Yeah.
In the second half, which is pretty much the Ravens' MO or the past couple of years with Joe Flacco, seemed to pick it up. I saw some good things. It looks as though the Ravens' running game can really pick off. Justin Forsett was great. He had a great burst. We saw that all throughout camp. Bernard Pierce, he looked kind of shady, kind of nervous maybe for his first NFL start in a while. So I was judging on him until later. But the Ravens' running game looked good. The receivers dropped passes all over the place, Steve Smith included. So you take away those drop passes, the Ravens looked crisp. There was separation from the corners, which a lot of people aren't talking about, which is something that the Ravens haven't had in a long time. It was just a matter of Joe Flacco getting comfortable with the offense and the receivers keeping a handle on the ball. I think the offense will pick it up as the season goes along, and the defense looked great. I mean, save for Shockey Brown, I talk about it all the time, how Dean Pease should not have A.J. Green on Shockey Brown. Or I should say Shockey Brown on A.J. Green at all in any circumstance. Even during run plays, goal line plays, Shockey Brown should not be near A.J. Green. So that's a loss on Dean Pease's part. Yeah. But overall, the defense will be great. Look like they could be a top 5 defense if they continue on this path.
Hey, Sam, I want to go back to real quick on the offense. To me, that first half looked like a team that just isn't really comfortable yet. Joe, especially in this offense. In the Kubiak, get it out quick, 3-step, get rid of it. I thought the second half, it was all about what he could do because they were kind of behind. Shotgun, more Joe not having to think about things, throwing the ball downfield, kind of reverted back to maybe what that offense was a year ago. How long do you think this offense is going to take for Joe and those guys to get this offense, to get the timing down? Because this offense is all timing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm glad you brought it up. The West Coast offense is all about timing. And in training camp, we saw, a comfortable Joe Flacco in the pocket. And it's very hard to judge a quarterback based off of training camp because, hey, you're not allowed to touch the quarterback. But here, guns are flying all over the place. The Cincinnati Bengals are one of the best front sevens in football. So you saw a jittery Joe Flacco. Even sometimes when he had time in the pocket, he was a little jittery, unable to make the throws. So a new offense like this, something about timing. Got a new receiver in Steve Smith who looked great, giving up those 2 drops were 4 drops were the killer for him. But he looked good. I say 8 games. Usually halfway through the season, a quarterback like Joe Flacco and the offense is built around as great as this one is, that will give them enough time to get it going. They have a chance if they can start off 5-3, 6-2, could really make a run at the home stretch. But, that first game was pretty disappointing for them, to say the least.
Sam, I would have to say, out of everything that you could possibly be concerned about yesterday, in terms of the performance of the team, kind of the running game not showing up again would be right up near the top of the list. Again, a really rough day for Bernard Pierce, pulled after the fumble. And Justin Forsett, a guy who barely got any carries at all last season, has been kind of a career backup, or maybe even a third stringer, got the lion's share of the carries. What do you think about the running game, and what do you think is going to be the situation going forward with Forsett and Pierce?
Yeah, that's a big issue, and it's all tied around to Ray Rice. Ray Rice plays in week 3 and onward, then there's really not much to worry about because I saw enough from their offensive line and the scheme that they're running to say that they're going to open up holes for him to make plays. But Bernard Pierce, he doesn't have the ball-carrying vision of Ray Rice. And Justin Forsett, even though he doesn't have the vision of the Pierce either, he's so fast and quick that he can adjust to any mistakes he makes initially on hole reading. So it's one of those things that Ray Rice gets in there, the running game will flourish. But given the circumstances of what's going on, who knows? So the running game is definitely in flux. It's a situation that Ray Rice is affecting both on the field and off the field for the Ravens. So it's all, who knows what's going to happen.
Sam Njoku joins us here on the BSR podcast. Sam, let's go back to Joe for a minute here. I anticipate there's going to be some growing pains with this offense, the new offense under Gary Kubiak. We saw some flashes of it in the preseason, but again, yesterday, very, very, very slow to develop and see what this kind of identity is going to be. I think the running game will help that as well. But, Flacco was very up and down yesterday, missed receivers, again, was scrambling for his life, but just looked very off, a little off yesterday. Do you anticipate him kind of picking it up here, and kind of getting things righted?
Oh yeah, his first half was one of the best performances I've ever seen from him, and I've seen him throw like 4 interceptions in the game. You guys have certainly watched him perform terribly, but this game was kind of eye-opening because of the way in which he was feeling. He was missing receivers. He was missing open receivers. He wasn't seeing I think there was a play towards the end of the half where I'm not sure Smith was wide open on the corner of the end zone, just waiting for the touchdown pass, and he didn't see it at all. And he wasn't under the arrest. He didn't have anybody on his. He just flat out missed the read. And most of the things that would concern the Ravens going forward is can he make those kind of decisions? And let's not forget the worst play I've ever seen of any quarterback. I'm talking high school, college. The end of the first half with time left on the clock, go to ball play, get 3 points on the board, and the game changes completely going into the half. It's just one of those things where you can't have your franchise quarterback making those kinds of mistakes. And this is a big year for Joe because of the contract, the way it's structured. There's about a year left before the Ravens had to start thinking, hey, Do we restructure his contract? Maybe do you think about bringing someone else in? Because even though you won a Super Bowl, it's what have you done for you lately? And so far, as of last year, he's looked pretty bad.
Sam, really appreciate your time. Before we let you go, I know it's a short week for the Ravens out at Owings Mills. Really important week with them facing the Steelers, and they'll look to avoid an 0-2 start and 2 losses within the division. In your mind, what will the Ravens have to do to improve during this short week and bounce back with a win against the Steelers?
Defensively, not much. Defensively, you know the Pittsburgh Steelers. They know you. Just stop Ben Roethlisberger, tackle him down, keep him down. Don't make him make any crazy plays to extend drives on offense. Just build upon the performance you had in the second half. I know it's kind of hard to look at Bengals with outside defense, and it's going to be hard to get points on the board against defenses such as Cincinnati. The Steelers don't have that kind of defense. As long as you build upon that performance, extend drives, hit third and shorts, keep the ball moving, and really, if you look at it, and this is one of the things that really cost the Ravens the game, even though the Ravens could have run the ball, they didn't really try to run the ball. Joe Flacco played the ball, 40-plus times yesterday? That's not going to win you any games. No. You're not Tom Brady. You're not Peyton Manning. You cannot throw the ball that many times and win in the National Football League. So knock down the number of attempts through the air, and the Ravens should win. I think the Ravens bounce back depending on how they react to the situation. This is a big distraction. I don't really believe in distractions, but this very rice thing is a distraction. If they let it get to them, it'll cost them on Thursday.
No doubt. Well, Sam, really, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us here on the BSR Podcast.
No problem, guys. Take it easy.
All right, our thanks to Sam for joining us here on the BSR Podcast. Let's talk some baseball. Is Patrick Guthrie still on the line?
No, I'm gone.
Oh, okay. All right. Whew, man. Well, I'm glad you're still there, Patrick. At the time of this recording, Patrick Guthrie, which is Monday morning, September 8th, 2014, the Baltimore Orioles are 83-59. They're 9.5 games up on the second place New York Yankees. Despite dropping the first 2 in Tampa Bay, they went 7-3 in their last 10 games. They hit the road. They're 40-31 on the road. They're 43-28 at home. They've got a plus 83 run differential. I don't even know why I bother doing this anymore, but 99.8% chance of making the playoffs.
Because 99.
It does make me happy. 99.7 of winning the American League East, according to Baseball Prospectus. And here's how it broke down. 0-1 versus Minnesota, a 3-game sweep of the Cincinnati Reds, and they took 1 of 3 against Tampa Bay Rays. And I feel like I should just play the applause, give Patrick all the credit he wants, because he was texting us all night last night when the Orioles successfully went 4-3. And I believe you were just absolutely perfect in your prediction. So congratulations.
I called every game.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You did? You called the sweep?
I called the sweep.
He did.
I called I think I called the Sunday win over Tampa. I think I had them losing Friday and Saturday, and I called the loss versus Minnesota.
Yep. You nailed it. You
Very
You
nice.
win. Congrats.
Here I stand.
I'm so proud of you.
Zach, remember, I was texting you yesterday telling you we were going to win that game no matter what, though.
That is true. That is true.
I had a good
Jeb
feeling.
was all
Now,
over it.
That was also because they owned Hellboy before yesterday, where he all of a sudden turned into Kevin or Alex Cobb for 6 innings. They were able to get to him. Nelson Cruz does the work, and Patrick, you were all over it. This team is playoff bound, baby, and I think they got pretty good chances going forward too.
And the best thing about it, Boston officially eliminated.
Sorry, Rob. Sorry. Rob's a great guy. But I feel bad for him. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
All right. How about the offensive performances of this team? I mentioned 7 RBI for Nelson Cruz on Sunday. I mean, it was the Nelson Cruz show, and it was damn fun. In 7 games over the week, he hit 11 for 27. He had 4 home runs, 12 RBI, 3 walks, 6 Ks. This was a guy who had cooled off a little bit in the second half, but a real good week, hitting 407. Very, very nice to see from him.
Yeah, picking it up at the right time. Just a dominant performance yesterday. I mean, he was the offense for the Orioles. He beat the Rays 7-5, essentially.
Yeah, he did.
Great week for him. And Zach, some of these other key bench guys contributing.
Yeah,
David Lowe.
Seen that all year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We'll ignore what David Lowe did in the outfield, but right. David Lowe over 5 games. You're right, hitting 273. So good to see.
Deaza 333. So key contributions off the bench. Able to rest some of the starters. Things are feeling really, really good right now with this team. The mojo's there. They're playing well in all facets of the game. And it's exciting because now it's a 9.5 game lead in the East.
I want to point out, Jab, Chris Davis's performance last week.
I was just going to mention that.
7 hits and 27 at-bats, a double, 2 home runs, 4 RBI, 3 walks. Strikeouts were up there with 8, but we've seen some double-digit strikeout weeks from Davis. That's a 259 average, which, look, if you've looked at Chris Davis's batting average, that week will raise his numbers in that department. And to me, guys, I'll go to you first, Patrick. To me, Patrick, I noticed some differences from Chris Davis. Even took some time to put together a blog post about this time last week on some changes that I had seen Chris Davis making. His ability to move the ball opposite field. I still stand by your theory, Patrick, that the oblique injury that he rushed back from has contributed to this. I don't know if this is a case of him getting more healthy, him getting more comfortable, maybe a bit of both, but this is a different Chris Davis than we saw a few weeks ago.
100%. And again, it's kind of a week-to-week thing because maybe it'll continue, maybe it won't. Maybe this was just kind of all of a sudden the hits started falling into place. He got a couple through the shift. I remember in the Cincinnati series he hit a double into right field. Pretty tough to do if they play that huge shift they usually do. But you and me agree on the same thing in that oblique strain can really kind of open up holes in your swing that weren't previously there. It makes it tougher to get to certain balls. You hear the fact that there was the big hole in his swing was middle in against fastballs. It's maybe tougher to turn on, was struggling against breaking balls as well. If he starts hitting, that's really been the only caveat to the whole Orioles season so far. The only really the only really big negative of it, besides the Wieters injury, the whole caveat to this Orioles season is if Chris Davis starts hitting, then what? So 259 with 2 homers and a double, I consider starting to hit because honestly, that's pretty much what I would consider a Chris Davis good season average from now on. Chris Davis is not hitting 300 again. Let's put it that way. Shift, just in general, I don't think he's a 300 hitter.
Right.
260 is good for a middle of the lineup hitter. It's not great, it's good. And adding that to this lineup, it makes it bar none the best lineup in the American League, and really in all of baseball. So 259 going forward, even 250 going forward. You take 240 going forward. That's what you need. So encouraging signs.
Yep, without a doubt. Jab, another guy I was encouraged by, and the numbers don't show because of a couple bad games over the weekend, I guess, before the week ended. But Jonathan Scope showing some power with 3 home runs and 5 RBI. Another guy that I wrote about on Masson. Just some changes from him. I know it's a 217 week, but earlier in the week and really into last week, this was a guy who was really starting to impress me with the bat. And he's always impressed me with the glove, which is why he's out there. So he's your boy.
You mean the mini Robinson Cano from the right side? Is that the guy that you're talking about? I'm not ready to go too crazy, but I am a big fan of him, and within the organization they are as well. Those bombs he hit against the Reds last week they had the sound of the ball coming off Chris Davis's bat. That's the kind of sound that you heard from his bat, and the way that the ball just kind of jumps off his bat. And yeah, he's going to strike out, and he's probably going to end up hitting around 220 in his rookie year, but I wouldn't be surprised if his home run numbers get around. I think he's got 15 right now. Let's say he gets to maybe 17 to 20 on the high side of that. Maybe 60, 65 RBIs in this first season. If you asked me before the season, would you be okay with Scope playing, probably end up being around 130 games, you guys, probably about that, between him and Flaherty, maybe 120, you'd take that in a second. He's been great. He's been great with the glove. I think he turns a spectacular double play, and I'm not so sure that they're positive they're going to keep him at second base going forward, depending on what happens with Manny down the line. We don't need to get into that. But No, he was great last week. And back to Chris Davis real quick. The most impressive part for me, guys, was the fact that he's hitting the ball the other way as well. The homer he hit against the Reds, the game I was at, he hit the ball the other way, Patrick. That reminded me of that Chris Davis, very easy swing to the point where he's making good contact now. And it's just not like he's getting lucky and hitting homers. He's getting good contact and hitting the ball real well.
Yeah, I've got the spray charts up there from this year and last year. And the key is, I mean, as much as he gets shifted, he's got to put the ball in left field, hit the other way. And that's what he did last year successfully. With a little more power, we saw a lot more opposite field home runs than we've seen this year, which, again, is why I go back to coming back really quickly from an oblique injury. But we started to see that last week, and hopefully that can continue into some more meaningful games in the fall. As far as the pitching goes, Kevin Gausman had 2 starts, 14 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, which is a 3.77 ERA. Bud Norris had 2 starts, 12 innings, 4 earned runs for a 3 ERA. Wei-Yin Chen pitched 1, 6 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs for my guy Wei-Yin Chen. So that was nice to see. Miguel Gonzalez with the start. Miguel Gonzalez with the start. The start, you guys. Complete game shutout, 4 hits, 1 walk, 8 Ks. He gets the game ball of the week for me, guys.
Yep.
Absolutely.
First career one, Pat.
Yeah, I mean it's not too surprising that it's his first career one because I mean again, the path that this guy took to the major leagues, just coming out of nowhere in the Mexican leagues and coming to pitch for the Orioles is absolutely crazy. But you always come away from watching him impressed because he's always better than you expect.
Yep.
The stuff is better than you expect, truthfully. I remember like the first couple times I saw him, the guy has a major league changeup, like an above average, very good major league changeup, and a good enough fastball to get it by people. And you just remember him walking into Yankee Stadium a couple times and having a couple great starts, and he's a really good pitcher on the road. He's got a 3 very good. I think since the All-Star break, it's like 2.11. He's been great. I mean, really under the radar great for the Orioles in the second half. And his numbers are really comparable to Tillman at this point, who most people would say is the ace of the staff. And Miguel Gonzalez, number for number, is right there with him.
Yeah, his story is phenomenal. It was awesome to see. It looked like, you know, there was a second where he might get taken out there after allowing. He had 2 outs in the 9th, allows a guy to reach first, and I was thinking, man, he's going to finish one out shy. Buck kept him in. He gets the out, and I was ecstatic to see it happen. As far as the bullpen goes, had a clunker from Darren O'Day, which is rare. And again, I kind of go back, Jab, to how I felt when Andrew Miller did this. Get it out of your system, right? So Darren O'Day appeared in 2 games. He allowed 3 earned runs in an inning pitched, and that clunker, I'm fine with. You knew it was going to happen. It's going to happen. This guy's not going to be perfect, so get it out now.
He just didn't have it. That was actually my game too. So I was watching that game. The minute he got in, you could see just there was no control of the fastball. I think he hit somebody that inning. He was just a mess, and it was weird because he's been so great this season, but the minute he got in that game, you knew good stuff wasn't going to happen because
he's due to have one. He's due to have one.
Anything. Yeah, absolutely, due to happen, and it's you just chalk it up to a bad appearance because the whole season's been so good, and you just say some nights you just don't have it, and he didn't have it that night.
Yeah, without a doubt. So get it out of the system now. So we mentioned Pat's prediction; he nailed it. Lund also had 4 and 3, as did Jab, and I went with a 5 and 2 weeks. So congratulations to all of you.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Pat for completely nailing it. I'm adding 1,000 this week.
I'm like Jab. Pat got
another day. Yeah, another day. And Pat wins everything anyway, so it doesn't matter. No biggie.
How about the road ahead? It's AL East time, boys. Are you excited?
For the rest of the season.
Yeah, here we go.
3 in Fenway Park. You got Miguel Gonzalez versus Joe Kelly, Chris Tillman versus Anthony Renato, Wei-Yin Chen versus Brandon Workman, and then the Orioles host the Yankees for a 4-game set. Kevin Gausman versus Brandon McCarthy. Two TBDs in the next game, Bud Norris versus Shane Green, and Miguel Gonzalez versus Hiroki Kuroda, which leads us to prediction time. And since he batted 1,000, threw a perfect game last week, we'll go to Patrick Guthrie. What do you got for us, Patrick?
And as usual, I just have absolutely no idea what I'm going to pick yet. So I'm looking at things right now, but we're going to get there.
That's usually how you do well.
We're going to get through this slowly, guys.
That's exactly what the listeners wanted to hear.
Coming off the complete game, I will take Gonzalez over Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly has actually pretty good for the Red Sox so far. He's a really fastball dominant pitcher. He throws hard. He throws about 96, 97. Should be interesting because even against the Rays with Smiley, with Hellickson, with Alex Cobb, all those guys kind of rely on different things. Hellickson, who the hell knows what it is. Cobb's got a really good changeup, good sinker. Smiley's a lefty, so even though he does have a pretty good fastball, Joe Kelly is a straight fastball pitcher. That's the reason he started out in the bullpen. I know nothing of Anthony Renato. I know he was a prospect for the Red Sox. So I will again lean towards the fact that I think the Orioles have their best two pitchers pitching in the first two games of that series, and I'll go with the first two saying yes. I think the Orioles will win those two games, and I think I'm going to have to say they're going to lose one. By the way, Yoenis Cespedes hitting 287 since coming over to the Red Sox with 4 homers, 8 doubles, and 3 triples.
Man, you know where he would be really good?
I bet Oakland.
Yeah, Oakland could really use a guy like that.
He'd be a really good fit in Oakland. I'm not 100% sure.
Right in the middle of that lineup, he would have been a nice fit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I will take 2-1 for the Orioles in that series. Kevin Gausman and Brandon McCarthy, and unless I'm mistaken, Brandon McCarthy is, after really coming out of the gate strong, has struggled a lot for the Yankees recently.
Yeah.
And Gausman was good his last couple starts out, 7 strikeouts each time. This is where you can, you can bury the Yankees here. This is like, I'm trying to think of a different name for it. You can really end the Yankee season. So it's tough to call the TBD versus TBD game, by the way. I don't think that one yet this season.
It's going to be Hibaldo, I bet you.
You think so?
Yep.
So Ubaldo versus, who knows?
Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte. So to add everything up,
let Jeter pitch, right?
Why not?
Ubaldo versus a New York Yankee fan.
Well,
yeah. That's the most pathetic thing I've seen, by the way. The way that Jeter retirement is just ridiculous.
It really is insane. I feel like such a hater for.
No, I'm with you guys.
But I just I don't know, man.
Nice patch.
What is with the patch?
He's not dead. He's still alive. And you're still trying to make a playoff run, allegedly.
It sure doesn't seem like that. So 2 of 3 from Boston. I will take Miguel Gonzalez over Hiroki Kuroda. I will take Kevin Gausman over Brandon McCarthy. You know what? I'll say they split with the Yankees.
Way to bury him.
Yankees take the middle 2. Shane Green over Bud Norris, who struggled a little bit in that start against the Rays. 4 dingers on Sunday. TBD versus TBD, who the hell knows? But I'm guessing it's Ubaldo, and I do not. I cannot imagine reacting well, but pitching well after however many days off that he's had, and hasn't had a start in X amount of days either. So 4-3 again, unless I'm mistaken. Stick to your guns, guys.
4-3.
Stick to your guns. 4-3.
All right. What do you got, Lund?
The Boston Red Sox are done. They've been eliminated, as we've mentioned. I think that they're done, though, and I like the Orioles pitching matchup in all 3 games. I think Brandon Workman's been a guy that's been around for a while. Has pitched some different teams, kind of a journeyman, if I'm correct. Don't know much about Anthony Ronaldo, and Joe Kelly's pitched well, but I like Gonzalez there. So I'm going to go sweep in Boston. And then when we play the Yankees, I'm gonna say 3 out of 4, and I don't know where the loss is going to come. I mean, if it is Ubaldo and that TBD start, can't really feel good about that. Gausman's pitched well against the Yankees, so and then you get Gonzalez in that series as well. So I'm going to say 3 out of 4 there, which puts me at 6-1.
6-1.
Wow.
That'd be a hell of a week. I like it.
That'd be great.
I like that, Lund. I like where your head's at there, pal. I do think Ubi's going to get that start there, Zach, for some reason. I kind of have a feeling. Plus, he'll get the B squad, too, because they're going to play that first game. Then maybe they'll get the split squad game for the doubleheader on Friday. And by the way, it's going to be a mess in Baltimore starting Thursday. If you got the Steelers in town, then you got the Yankees in town, you got the Blue Angels here. It's the 200th anniversary of the flags and the whole bit. Charm City's going to be off the chain this weekend, so hopefully the Orioles fans will be out there, and we will get to bury the Yankees, unlike Patrick did when he took them to go 2-2, which I found very, very good there, Pat. I like the Gonzalez. I got 2 or 3 up in Boston. I agree with them there, and I like 3 or 4 from New York. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to get it. I'm not into that, but I think it's 3 or 4 from New York, which would put me at 5-2 on the week.
5-2. All right, I like it. I get the feeling that much like Sunday, we may see some B squads get some rest for guys like Jones, guys like Markakis. They've got the outfield depth to do that. We saw them do it Sunday. Yep. Hardy could use a rest. Even Scope, who's played pretty regularly. I mean, this wouldn't be a bad idea to work in. And I know that the magic number shrinking, Cruz would be a good one. The magic number shrinking, and I know that, Jab, the Orioles dropped 2 games in Tampa, and just people were out of their minds thinking that they were choking down the stretch, and I don't quite get it, because all along the way, the magic number was shrinking with Yankee losses. And trust me, Buck knows what he's doing as far as resting these guys go.
You think so?
This might be a chance to do it. So I don't know that I'm going to go break down game by game, but I do think that you're going to see some B squad type lineups, which is good. It's the time to do that. So I'm going to go with a 4-3 week and copy off of Patrick and hope that I can ace my test by copying off of his. So.
He looked over your shoulder at Pat's plate. I like it.
Yep, that's what I'm going with. How about some Orioles storylines? As far as a 4-man rotation goes in the playoffs, how do you go with, Patrick?
Well, I think the top 3 are obvious, right? I don't think we're debating the top 3 in any way. I think we're going in some order. In my order would be Tillman, Gonzalez, Chen. Those would be, and that's the order I think. In terms of the 3 best pitchers on the team, that's who it would be. Tillman, Gonzalez, Chen. The question is the 4th starter. And it's either Bud Norris or Kevin Gausman. Those are your 2 options. And I think Gausman has pitched a little bit better. I think Gausman's stuff is a little bit better. I would make Norris the 4th starter, though. Because Gausman has pitched out of the bullpen, and he was successful at it last season.
Yeah.
So, and as much as I think Joe Maddon's a little bit of a phony, I'm not above saying that the strategy he used last year, I think it was in the deciding game against the Red Sox, started Jeremy Hellickson, threw him for like 2 2/3 innings or something like that. Like literally the minute he got into trouble, Madden literally like bullpen arm after bullpen arm after bullpen arm, and they almost won it. Like they almost won that game. That's what I would do. You start Bud Norris, and you literally start warming Kevin Gausman up in like the 3rd inning. And you say, all right, pitch really well, or we're going to bring in Gausman, which is fine. I mean, if that's how you want to do it, I think that's the best way that they can solve that situation.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. What's your take on the postseason rotation, Jab? Are you in agreement? Gausman out of the pen?
I agree with Patrick completely, and based on some of the information that I'm getting, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Gausman is going to be that guy because you can bring in Gausman. First of all, doesn't it remind you a little bit of what he did with Tillman in 2012? Everybody thought Tillman would be in the rotation for sure in the playoffs, that kind of thing. It looks like with Buck's track record going into the playoffs, he goes with veteran guys that he can trust in his opinion, and we know that there's some friction between him and Duquette in regards to when Gausman was ready, who wants to bring him up, that kind of thing. Gausman pitched great, I think, but I think it's a great spot to use Gausman in that 6th inning, like you said, Patrick. If somebody struggles a little bit, you got Gausman ready to go, come out and fire. He knows he's going to be in there for 2 innings, 3 innings tops. He can go out and fire as hard as he wants. Kind of in that David Price mode back when they used him a little bit in the playoff run against the Phillies, that kind of deal. And I could see Gausman in there. My thing is, I love the way Gonzalez has been pitching. I love the way the defense plays behind Gonzalez because he pitches quickly, he throws strikes. I kind of want to see Gonzalez maybe in the 2 spot. I'm not so sure that Buck would do that. I think it would probably go Tillman, Chin, Gonzalez. And if you had to start somebody, I agree with you guys completely. I think Norris is your 4th starter. but it's like a Norris-Gossman combo there, and it also will depend on how that series plays out, off days, things of that nature, if you bring Tillman back on maybe like 4 days rest.
I can't help but look ahead, Lund, to how things are looking in October. The way the way the standings are lining up with who the Orioles might match up with. I know, I should really just be focused on what jersey number matches up with the magic number, and I'm really enjoying that.
That's great.
Lincecata, baby.
It's fun. But I can't help but look, the way things are lining up right now. You've got the Orioles facing the AL Central leading Kansas City Royals. I guess the question is, do the Orioles want to be that top seed? Do they want to be where the Angels are? Because right now they're going to face either Seattle or Oakland, with Detroit trying to chip away at that second wild card. Maybe Detroit wins the Central. I don't know. Who do you want to face? Who scares you?
I mean, the Angels are a complete team right now. If anybody other than the Orioles is that team, I think it's the LA Angels. I would love to see the Orioles match up with them in an ALCS type game or type series. I like the matchup potentially right now, which would be the Orioles and the Royals in the divisional series. I think that's a good matchup of two teams. But you know what? If I know Buck Showalter like I think I do, and the way he manages and his influence on this ball club, I think the Orioles are trying to be the best team they can possibly be in the AL and have that best record. I think they're striving for that. So if that is the case, then so be it. And they're going to go ahead and face whoever they have to face. But I do like the Orioles Royals potential matchup. I mean, the Royals have some hitters on that ball club, but there's not too many guys on that team that scare me. Maybe outside of Alex Gordon. I mean, you have Salvador Perez. That's a pretty good player. But I think the Orioles lineup would fare well against that pitching staff. The Royals bullpen, however, is great, but that would be a really, really good matchup. So for me, I like that the Orioles could potentially face Kansas City there.
Patrick, you watch a ton of baseball. I'm looking at this and I see, boy, Seattle's rotation scares me. Oakland's rotation scares me, and right now one of those two teams is going to face the Angels. Am I crazy for thinking, hey, the Orioles finished with the second best record in the American League? Not so bad.
No, you're not. And I agree with London that, listen, you want to win, you want that best record because you want your team to have that confidence. What we're not saying by any stretch of the imagination here, let's tank some games down the stretch and see if the Orioles can get the second seed instead of the first seed. I'm just saying, point being, I would much rather face the Royals than the Mariners, for example, right now. Mm-hmm. The Mariners going Felix Iwakuma and James Paxton, who's been very, very good for them after coming back being injured early in the year. He's got a 1.87 ERA in 9 starts. I'd say that's pretty good. Also, Mariners, and speaking of very good bullpens, and this is kind of sneaky because the Royals have a great bullpen, the Orioles have a great bullpen. The best bullpen ERA, I think as of like a week or two ago, I don't know if it's still the case, belongs to the Seattle Mariners for the whole season. Seattle Mariners have a really good, just overall a phenomenal pitching staff. And you won't be going against guys who are, I guess maybe Felix hasn't made, your only hope is that Felix hasn't made a postseason start. And I get I don't really doubt that he would rise to the occasion because he's Felix Hernandez. Again, the Royals are a good team. They've had a great year. We'll really see how this shakes out with them beginning of this week because they get to play Detroit. And Detroit's not far enough back right now that you can definitively say this is the Royals division. If Detroit sweeps this series, all of a sudden things get thrown into flux again, and maybe you have to worry about Detroit. And Miguel Cabrera, who was hitting on one leg and actually hitting because he had a home run on Sunday night. But yes, I think matchup, the easier road to go through would be the Royals as opposed to either a playoff-proven Oakland team, and I know they're struggling right now. I know they're not hitting that much, but still, they've been in the playoffs year after year recently, or a very scary Mariners pitching staff. So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
2.41 ERA for the Mariners bullpen this season. Royals really at 3.45. Yeah, very good.
Yep, and even your boy Fernando Rodney's been unbelievable. His whole shtick with the arrow and everything. He's been closing out games for them.
Yep, everyone back there.
How about the suddenly crowded infield, Jab? As we look at this, you get Chris Davis and Steve Pearce. Actually, I guess crowded roster in general, because you have Delman Young, Kelly Johnson, Ryan Flaherty. How is this lineup going to be used, and which guys? I know they made these trades and got them in before September 1st, so pretty much everybody I mentioned here, De Aza included,
postseason roster,
will be eligible for the playoffs. How do you see it shaking out?
Well, let's say game one we're facing James Shields, okay? And I'm hoping at this point that Kansas City has to just battle their tail off all the way to the end, and maybe Shields has to pitch one of those games to get him into the playoffs. But let's just say it's Shields. Game one, you got a righty on the mound at Camden Yards. You're going to have Davis play third base. You're going to have Pierce at first base. You're going to have Scope at second base. I just don't see any other way where he's going to mess with this thing. The interesting spot for me will be in left field, what they're going to do. Are they going to put Nelly out in left field so that in case they want to use him as a defensive replacement, or is he going to be the DH and then you put Lowe or Diaz out there? That'll be the only thing for me. I think at this point you're going to see Davis, Pierce, Scope, and Hardy there on the infield. And I wouldn't be surprised if you put Diaz out there in left field, maybe the way that he's kind of stroking to give him. I think he's a better hitter than Lowe. Fielding wise, it just depends on what you're going to get. The arm strength, left field's not a very difficult position to make a throw from there. So I think that's where it's going to go with Buck, but he will play matchups for sure.
Who's being arrested, by the way? Is that you, Jeb?
Could be. Yeah, there's one on my side. There was one over in Lund's side. Where it's everything going on. They're coming to get that. They're trying to find that video, I think, Zach.
NFL couldn't afford it, so couldn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been just a whirlwind of a show.
Can I hit on one really quick thing, though?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Really quick on the lineup, and this is just my opinion. If you are playing the Royals, and especially the Royals, and I said this I think last week, you cannot play Chris Davis at third base. The Royals, and this is really their best aspect of their offense, because they're not a ton of really great hitters. They're all really fast. Alex Gordon's fast. I think he's stolen about 15 bases. Lorenzo Cain, Gerard Dyson, Nori Aoki. They're all fast, and they're all pretty good bunters. So you can make that gamble of playing Davis at third. You haven't seen a lot of it so far this season when he's been playing third. There would be an avalanche of bunts. That would be my guess.
Yeah, but
That's why I think it's so interesting.
But I think that it outweighs it in regards to his bat's got to be in the lineup, Pierce's got to be in the lineup, and from what I've seen from Paredes and even Johnson at this point, it's not like Davis kills you at third base, so far at least.
We'll see. I mean, he makes the routine plays. We've seen him make routine plays.
Yep.
I would be scared watching Davis trying to make that charging barehanded throw. And
the Machado.
That's a tough play to make. Not only tough to get it there in time, tough to not make an error on the throw.
Yeah.
I guess the question is who plays there. I mean, that's
Johnson.
Sort of the conundrum. Johnson's defense has been garbage this year, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree.
Kelly Johnson?
Really?
Kelly Johnson.
Really?
Kelly Johnson.
We're watching the same Kelly Johnson?
Player. Huh?
This year?
Yes.
All right.
I haven't been impressed.
That's my platform. That's all I want to say. I know we want to wrap soon. We've gone long. I would play Kelly Johnson at third base.
All right.
Well,
Pat's always right, Zach. So we got to go with it.
Don't blow smoke up his ass.
He gets enough. Don't worry. He's got the Jets. He's got his Terps are 2-0. It's a big banner week for Pat.
Allison's 0-2. Everything's wrong except for the Orioles. Except for the Orioles. Everything's right for the Orioles. So
yeah, baby.
Watching that magic number shrink. Jabby Burns, where can we find you? What are you up to?
I'm basically blogging about the Birds, talking some shop, doing the morning clicks, getting that in there.
Matt Lund, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Matt C. Lund. Thursday night, Ravens Steelers at M&T Bank. Hopefully a little bit better for the Ravens. And, of course, the Orioles push for that AL East crown. It's getting exciting, boys.
And Patrick Guthrie?
Patrick 321 on Twitter. And wearing a Wayne Corbett jersey most of the week. It's probably where you can find me. Just sitting on top of the mountain.
I'm glad you're happy for the next 7 days.
If I nail this week, it'll be unbearable next week. I don't think I'm going to. This week's a little tougher, but
a little tougher at Green Bay.
I'm little tougher.
Yeah, 10 days off for the Packers after getting pounded real good up in Seattle. They'll be my survivor pick. I have a feeling.
All right, well, you can follow the show on Twitter, twitter.com/BSR Podcast, on our website at twitter.com/BAL Sports Report, and Facebook at facebook.com/Baltimore Sports Report. And go visit Rob at Whitey's, 803 North Hammonds Ferry Road. For Jab, Matt, and Pat, I'm Zach. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Goodbye, home run! Good morning, good afternoon, and good night!
Hakuna Matata, bitches.
Wild card, bitches! Yeah!
Did you guys hear the open?
No.
All right.
Nope.
I don't know why it's not playing.
Nope.
Hold on a second. Oh, that's why. All right, let's try that again.
The BSR Podcast is a member of the
Hold on, let's try it at normal speed. Let's try it at normal speed, all right? Why don't we do that?